The lagoon contains 7 aquatic preserves. The 7 preserves encompass 108,000 acres, covering 125 miles. Indian River is a long, shallow lagoonal estuary, known for its recreational and commercial fishing, boating, agriculture, and a site for prime residential development. Jeffrey Beal, manager of the 4 southern Indian River Lagoon Aquatic Preserves, gave us a brief overview of several of the projects that are being implemented in this preserve area.
The North Fork St. Lucie River is a tributary to the Indian River Lagoon, and it was dredged back in the 1920s. It was straightened, so we're looking to restore the oxbows and the wetlands along that river. The manner in which it was dredged is they took the river bottom and piled it up on the banks. So what we've done is we're cutting holes in that spoil bank, cutting breaches to create little tidal creeks so that water will get back into that historical swamp. It's the first Oxbow Reconnection. So we have an oxbow that's been isolated from the main branch of the river for over 80 years, and we're going to be reconnecting that. If we fully reconnect all of these things, then the river will be functioning as it's supposed to. And downstream, where the river empties into the Indian River Lagoon and ultimately into the Atlantic Ocean, you'll have better water quality and therefore better habitat and better fisheries downstream.
The lagoon boundary on the west is the Florida mainland, and on the east, barrier islands. Indian River Lagoon is one of the watersheds in Florida identified as part of the National Estuary Program and is one of the richest and most productive water bodies for aquatic fauna within North America. The Florida Intracoastal Waterway runs the length of the lagoon. Bird life is dependent on the lagoon's tidal flats for feeding and the protection of colonial nesting sites.
There are 137 spoil islands in the Indian River Lagoon that were created when they dredged the Intracoastal Waterway back in the mid-1900s. One particular island we've selected to do a restoration or enhancement project on. The island is predominantly Australian pine and Brazilian pepper. It's fringed by mangroves. So we'll be taking an island that really is not very productive in terms of what it's doing for the lagoon and turn it into what we know is the most productive habitats. We know that mangroves and seagrass are the habitat and primary producers for everything in the lagoon. And it can be costly to do these things, but we know that mangroves and seagrass provide tens of thousands of dollars annually to the local economy in terms of fisheries and tourism. So we know that it's worth the cost up front and that it's something that will be providing enjoyment and economics to us for years to come.
Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institution, a leader in marine educational programs, has been conducting research in and around the Indian River Lagoon since 1973. Dennis Hanasak, Director of Marine Education, discusses the importance of the hands-on curriculum for young students in our society.
We have partnerships with Florida Atlantic University and also Florida Institute of Technology, and we've been doing a number of courses under a program called Semester by the Sea, where students come here for a semester and take 4 or 5 courses, all in the marine sciences. Whatever you're going to be in life, if you're going to be a marine scientist, you're going to need to have quite a lot of information about how the marine world works. Even if you're just going to live in Florida, I think it really behooves everyone to have a basic understanding of the saltwater environment, that Florida is totally surrounded by saltwater. It's a peninsula. If you live here on the Treasure Coast, we have the Indian River Lagoon right here and nearshore reefs. So our philosophy is that everybody should know some very fundamental things about our marine resources and the organisms that live in them, and also how we as humans can impact the natural systems. There's lots of opportunities here. I think that any young scientist could make a whole career studying the lagoon. It's a beautiful place. It's a very interesting place.